one of the most important aspects that you need to know within the game of Kohan 2 is economy. Your economy bar is shown in the top right corner of the screen. This is the amount of gold you have at present, then your average gold income, and then your resource count along with the unit limit. Now, the hardest thing to do, or the most important thing to do, is to maintain a pretty good economy while also simultaneously supporting units to defend yourself. So let's say that I had 2 starting units, and as you can see, I'm losing money because I'm losing resources which are being drained from the companies I just recruited. So what I want to do is I want to look up here, and I'm losing 4 iron, which in total is a net of minus 16 gold from my gold income, and then the wood is only minus 12. So the first thing I want to do is build iron, so I'm going to do that. And once the iron's completed, I have 2 choices. I can upgrade my city and then build wood, which would make up for my loss from the wood, or I can export my surplus of iron, which would give me much more money ahead of time, so I'm going to go ahead and do that first. And then I'm going to upgrade my city and then make up for the wood. For each settlement that you have, it also adds to your gold income, so it's pretty important to try and get as many settlements as you can while still being able to defend yourself. And also, once again, you make more money by exporting the resources you have in surplus. For example, I have 2 wood, and by exporting it, I could add more to my gold income. Now, in order to build settlements, you need to recruit a company of pioneers, and so I'm going to do that right now. And as you can tell, the pioneers are draining me of 4 stone, which is minus 8 gold for my income. Now, if I want to, I can build stone to make up for that, which I'm going to do. And once the stone is done, I can export what I have left over that I don't need to add more gold to my gold income, and then settle a cleared spot. So between resource management and exporting your surplus, there are other buildings which will give you a greater gold income. And if you're curious as to what building you might need the most, you simply put the cursor over the building and it will display what your economy will look like once you build the building. So at this point, it seems like the market will help to boost my economy the most, so I'm going to go ahead and build that. Meanwhile, I'm going to go over to this city, and at this point in the game, I'm probably going to want a couple more units, so I'm going to go ahead and see what units I want to make. I think I'm going to make another 2 companies of scouts, which will set me back in both iron and wood. And since iron drains the most, I'm going to go ahead and build that in advance, because I don't want to kill my economy before I construct the units. I want to just build up the resources I need ahead of time and then recruit my units. That way my economy doesn't drop. Now at this point I have successfully repaired my economy, so I am making as much gold as I possibly can at this point, and I am not losing any resources. Now I have 3 settlements. 2 of them have been upgraded, 1 has not. Now I have 2 choices. I can upgrade this city, or I can upgrade this city. Now this one will boost me up to plus 162, and this one will boost me up to 164. So it's the better choice to upgrade this one. And just a tip, I usually never upgrade a city past the point where it's at right now, unless I am at a maximum number of settles. Then I have no choice but to upgrade them further. But for the amount of money that it costs to upgrade this city further, it really isn't worth it in the long run. Also, having negative resources isn't necessarily a bad thing. For example, I'm probably going to be building swordsmen, which require iron, so I don't really have a need for my extra wood. Now I can export the wood, but I'll go negative, but as you see, I'm still making a substantial amount of money, so it will be worth it to export this wood. And at this time, my economy is pretty high, and I can afford to build better units. So I'm going to go ahead and build iron here, so that I have iron ahead of time for the units I'm going to build. And I'm going to build some structures which will allow me to have support units. So once these structures are done, I'm going to go ahead and decide what units I'm going to make. Specifically, I'm planning on making them iron troops because I have a surplus of iron, and I could at this point export this iron to boost my economy even further, but considering I'm about to recruit swordsmen which will drain my iron, it might not necessarily be a good idea. So let's see, I'm going to make swordsman company, and I could make one swordsman company and not be losing anything, or I could make pikemen in the back because they use less iron, and in turn make two companies instead of just one. Which I think I'm going to do. Now I'm at a loss of 5 iron, which is subtracting 20 gold from my gold income, and I'm also losing mana, which is subtracting 15. So in order to repair that, I think I'm going to upgrade my iron first in order to get the most out of my money. Now at this point, I have a pretty substantial army. I've got some lighter units, and then I've got some heavier units with supports, and my economy is pretty good, I'd say, and I'm doing pretty well for resource losses. Now I could go ahead and settle another spot, or I could begin upgrading my cities. But basically, one thing you want to keep in mind is you don't want to let your economy drop at least below 100 unless you have to create a massive number of units in a hurry to defend yourself from an oncoming army. So let's say someone was attacking me right now, and I was forced to construct more units very quickly. By creating 2 more companies, I'm losing half my economy, but it's still substantially high enough that I could eventually make up for it later.